Hey Flosstube, this is Tara of Will2Woman Crafts on Instagram and now on YouTube. Hopefully you're seeing this with the encouragement of some sweet friends. I think I've decided to join in on the fun of Flosstube. I think it is it seems like July, looking kind of back at my notes, seems to be a year of big excitement for me. We'll kind of go through this, but in July of 2020 is when I kind of picked cross stitch up back as an adult. 2021, I bought my sewing machine, which has led to some adventures we'll get to as well. And, you know, time to do something exciting. July's almost over, and it's also, you know, kind of the season of mid-year whip parades, and so hopefully you're just out there looking for some more content and you're down to hang out with me for a little bit. So for my first Flosstube, I'm hoping to kind of cover a little bit about me, and then we'll get into my current works in progress. Then we'll get into my plans, because that's another exciting reason why I think now would be a fun time to start a channel, because I have several big plans coming up and I would love to track my progress for myself, and hopefully maybe a few of you out there are interested in watching that progress as well. And then at the end we'll kind of cover like any other crafts that I have going on outside of cross stitch, because, you know, for flagging it as a Flosstube, then I want to have all the cross stitch stuff sort of together at the front end. So with that, like I said about me, my name is Tara. My channel name is Will2Woman Crafts, which is, I do pronounce that way, kind of like wildebeest, but Will2Woman. And it's actually in reference to a song by the same name from a group called Lucius. And it's just one of those songs that the first time I heard it, like the lyrics just really like spoke to me, and I carry them with me. And I've often thought of ways that I would like to get like a tattoo to commemorate that song. It means so much to me, but I don't know what a hybrid woman wildebeest would look like, and I also don't know and I don't really want song lyrics on like tattooed on me, so I'm kind of out of a loss of how to generate that into a tattoo. So I thought dedicating my crafty space to the song is one way I can honor the meaning that song has in my life. So I recommend you go look it up if you're looking for a really upbeat tune today. I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my partner and our big orange cat Fozzie, who has already interrupted this process, just trying to get set up. So hopefully he makes an appearance, but hopefully not an appearance that's too distracting. And I originally grew up in Austin, Texas, but moved out to Atlanta for school. I currently work in kind of environmental public health out here, and just haven't left since school. I have a nice job out here, but I do hope to be closer to family who are still in Austin at some point. But for right now, we are chilling out in Atlanta, and if you can hear him, he's gonna use the litter box in the opening 5 minutes of this. That's totally fine. Great, yeah. So I also thought I would share a little bit about kind of like my crafty past, because I think, again, in doing extensive research, watching many first Flosstubes to kind of get inspiration of how I would want to do something like this. I really love when people share stories of how they got into crafting. That is probably so loud. Or had family members who like passed down crafts to them. And in my case, that is not how it happened for me. I am blessed with a bunch of lovely women in my family, but none of them quite got the crafty bug. So I guess it is all on me to make all the family heirlooms. On my mom's side, so my mom and my grandmother, they both kind of dabbled in a craft. I think they both like crocheted one Afghan, but then said, you know, that's it, we're done. My mom also, I do think, dabbled in some needlepoint, did a little cross stitch, maybe has like one finished cross stitch that I'm aware of. And she has a supply of threads, but just hasn't really gotten into it. didn't really keep up with it, and same with my grandmother. And then on my paternal side, my grandmother says that she used to knit. I haven't, I don't know if there's any kind of like extant knitted objects that she created that are, still around, but not a craft that she held on to either. So I currently hold my doctorate in YouTube University, I think as many of us do. And I also like classes, if I can, if that's something in person that I can do. I do enjoy a good class here or there. So my first fiber craft I probably ever did was knitting. And I had a friend that kind of showed me, and, started on, I'm sure that first scarf that we all started on as kids that, I think took me 7 years, but I did finally pick it back up and finish it. Just because it gets boring. It gets boring to stitch a big long rectangle, right? I don't preach scarves as great for knitting projects anymore, but that was what I did at the time. Then I picked up one of those little like Barnes and Noble kits. I don't know if anyone else remembers that, but we loved to go to Barnes and Noble as kids, and in the when you were in line to check out, I think it was those little grabby type items. Not that they were cheap, but they were small. There was all these little boxes, and there was one that was how to knit, so I tried to learn from that, but written instruction apparently was not for me. Could not really figure out what was going on with a purl stitch from those instructions. And then finally ended up taking a class, which is where I learned the magic of like knitting in the round. And I feel much more confident and between that and YouTube, I feel pretty confident that, if there's anything I want to knit, that, I can figure it out if I set my mind to it. And past that point, I do think I did a little crocheting when I was young. Again, I think I got some kind of small kit that had maybe 8 patterns in it, and thinking back, like they were teeny tiny, like they couldn't have been bigger than, I don't know, like a 20 by 20 in pattern designs. And I really quite liked that. I remember, doing several of those with the little tiny Ada that was provided, no hoop or anything, because the Ada was, this big. So I did enjoy that, but kind of, tucked it away. And then in college, in undergrad, I remember finding that kit and doing one of those patterns and giving it away to one of my mentors. And I was like, this is so fun. Like, I could really get into this. But I didn't know at the time, like, what the next step looked like. So I'm pretty sure I picked up a dimensions kit next. And I remember it, and thinking about this now, I'm like, it must still be in my parents' house. Maybe one day I can resurrect it and give it the life it deserves. But I bought a dimensions kit, I'm pretty sure, of a bicycle, and there was a bunch of flowers, and I think, several specialty stitches for a cross stitch, like, French knots, and, just interpreting that pattern was just miles and away above the little kit that I had. And I was so overwhelmed, I didn't even start it, I don't believe. So if it's still around, I would love to stitch that piece, because I think I could handle it now. So that was kind of the last brush I had with cross stitch, was in undergrad, which was a while ago now. And then in the meantime, I kind of picked up crochet a little bit. I most recently was gifted a Annie's Kit Club from a friend. So she did one of their like Afghan Block of the Month clubs and received all the packages and kind of decided that it wasn't really for her. And so she asked me if I wanted to take it, which of course I wanted to take it. So I had the privilege of working on that last year, and she didn't even want the blanket back. So I gave it to my grandfather as like a housewarming gift, because he moved to Texas to be closer to my family as well. So that was a really wonderful gift to give. And so I do like a crochet. And then kind of the pandemic hit, right? And in July of 2020, as I mentioned earlier, I actually don't really know what spurred this. I think maybe I was looking for a craft, and I don't tend to gravitate towards knitting and crochet in the summer months because it's hot. And so I think I was looking for a craft to just occupy my time, and you know, Animal Crossing was starting to get a little old at that point. I had put way too many hours in at that point, and I thought to myself that I would pick up cross stitch, and I bought some Aida at Michael's and picked a couple of patterns off of Etsy and worked through those 3. Had a great time, and then did like a Christmas gift for my brother and my sister that year. And then in January 2021, I was being inundated with ads for diamond painting, which I'm sure, again, if anyone's in the cross stitch space, I'm sure you've also been attacked by these ads. And so I finally broke down and had to Google whatever the heck diamond painting was. And I found Rachel Ray Craft on YouTube, and she also does Flosstube. So once I started watching her Flosstubes, then the world of Flosstube opened up to me. I learned all about Facebook groups and stitch-alongs and just everything. I went from being a monogamous stitcher to a whole different person. Even still, you'll see in the whip parade, I actually don't tend to have too many whips on the go at one time, but like I said, that may change. We have big plans for the end of the year, but I started my first stitch along in March of last year and caught up, and then kind of realized, like, I thought I would still stay monogamous, but then I caught up to the stitch along and I was like, dang, I don't have anything to stitch for a month. I was like, that's not gonna do. I basically have to start a second project. And then, you know, once that happens, it all just kind of goes downhill from there. So that is kind of where we got to. And then, so yeah, we were ensconced in Flosstube doing the cross stitch. I did pick up a little bit of diamond painting. I have a couple kits. I think I've already sort of decided that that's maybe not a long-term craft for me, but happy to share any finished pieces as they come along, because I would like to do the kits I have. I have about 5 or so. And then last year in July, like I mentioned, I got a sewing machine, which also, like I said, overthinking decisions that have low stakes. My list of reasons for getting the sewing machine is I, you know, was seeing all these gorgeous finishes people do and pillows, and, you know, pillows are all that are coming to mind. But, you know, I just thought it would really open up the world of finishes to me, making project bags. I saw people, you know, making notions, pouches, all kinds of things. So I thought that would be really fun. And then again, as someone who works kind of in environmental health, I like to, when I can, you know, practice some sustainable principles. And one of the things that was really interesting, or that I was really drawn to when thinking about purchasing a sewing machine, was not only being able to make my own clothes, which, you know, anybody who exists in a body, I'm pretty sure, has had a frustrating experience shopping for clothing and having it not fit the way you wanted it to, but also to repair and, you know, reinforce clothing that I already own that I do like, because that's kind of, as a small environmental rant here, you know, you always hear the phrase reduce, reuse, recycle, and I think just because of the society we're in, we're often very, we're fed a lot of information about recycling and reusing. You know, upcycling is very popular, and, you know, recycling kind of makes you feel good, right? Like you feel like everything is just gonna go to a better place, but the reality is quite different from that. And honestly, one of the key component of reduce, reuse, recycle is that reduction piece, you know, just not buying as many things, which I realize is very counterintuitive as someone who enjoys hobbies and crafts. And so I certainly purchase a lot in that regard. So, you know, I try to make up for it in some other parts of my life. And that's been fantastic, because I've already been able to, like, adjust a pair of shorts and, you know, fix a hole in a romper that I really liked, you know, those kinds of things. So the sewing machine has been really fantastic, and I do have kind of a sewing finish at the end that I'm very proud of, because we're branching out into clothes. So yeah, I think that kind of covers everything. So again, in this channel, I think I'll hit all the cross stitch toward the beginning of these. Obviously this one's, you know, my first go at it. And then at the end, I will show off, you know, any of those other assorted crafts I talked about at the end. So with that, if you have made it this far in, I regret to inform you that we're already friends. You're invested, I'm invested. Please drop your handle down below. Let me know if you have a Flosstube. I'd love to watch. Let me know if you have an Instagram. I'd love to follow your progress. And with that, we will get to my WIP parade, works in progress parade. I have touched all of these somewhat recently, but these are currently all of the projects I have on the go, and there's only 5. So my oldest project, which if I have correctly listed in my notes here, I started this in June 11th of 2021. So this is currently my only project that's over a year old, but 2 of them are coming up on their birthdays fast. So this is the Northern Expressions Needlework Twisted Rainbow Sampler. This was a pride start for me in 2021. It's gorgeous. I am using the Dinky Dyes conversion, and I still have a ways to go, and nothing is going to be ironed, but here it is. So, oh my gosh, it looks quite good in this lighting, if I do say so myself. So there are 17 bands total, and I have completed 8 bands. So like I said, just under halfway. But these take a while. I mean, that bottom band has 7 rows of stitches. And you know, just kind of watching other folks' floss tubes, I know some people have maybe some mixed feelings about the Dinky Dyes, that maybe it's like not as smooth of a gradient as the cover photo. I've really enjoyed the look of it. I will say probably maybe my biggest disappointment in them so far is that in the middle of this band, in this cross stitch band with the flower motif, you switch colors, and those 2 greens are about identical. They look more different on the skein, but in practice here you can obviously see that they look pretty dang identical. So that's all right, but the rest of them I think are going to be really gorgeous. I'm very encouraged now that I'm kind of out of those lime greens to keep going, because I think there's a lot of fun to come. I will show you, because I thought I was quite funny. I purchased a thread sorter to put these on, which of course has one too few holes, but I don't know if anyone else remembers like Nyan Cat. So it's a little sleeping wooden cat, but of the early 2000s internet days, I thought he looked like a Nyan Cat with all of it. So like I said, so you can see, I don't know if you can see, but they have the slightest difference in undertone in the skein, but they're pretty close. So this is the dark green that I'm currently on, so I'll keep this folded. And this is what is to come, which these I think are just a stunning gradient. So I do kind of see, you know, people's point to the pretty stark jump between some of the red and orange, and then there's a very gentle yellow gradient, and then it kind of jumps in this lime green. So it's a little high contrast on the front, but I think altogether it's just really, I mean, even with just those colors, I think it looks gorgeous. I think you get a rainbow effect. I'm very into it. But it takes a lot of time, and it's black Lugana, I guess. Yeah, let me share. Yeah, this is 28 count black Jobelin that I bought from 123 Stitch. And I guess one more note I will say, I am actually stitching the crosses 1/1 on this, which might be a little controversial, but I think even though the crosses are quite defined, which normally I like a little bit fuller coverage of a cross, I think with all of these specialty stitches. It just kind of looks very technical to me, and I think that the 1/2 of the crosses also kind of lends to it looking very, like, I don't know, precise and tidy. Oh no, he's gonna try to jump up. There's Fuzzy. No. Okay, should be back now, hopefully. I apologize. Like I said, my cat is very interested in this seat. I have my phone propped up. And I do have some interesting bags that I'll share. This one is not one. I just picked up one of these clear zip ones from 123 Stitch, and it is great because I've been looking for a good home for this project. So this is my oldest whip. Next up is okay, and we're back. Hopefully he doesn't keep jumping up here. So next up, in an 805 Stitcher bag, who is a fellow Tara, I have a Expo release from last year. This is the Meowster Mash Biscornu from Stitchy Prose. Obviously with an orange cat, I had to do these. The theme of Expo last year, they do kind of an animal theme. Well, not every year, but I guess every Expo there's some kind of theme going on. So I know they did Moo the Merrier, and then they did Meow the Merrier last year. So there was a lot of cat themed patterns. So I was not safe at all. I made a lot of pattern purchases. So this was one, and it does have a companion piece that is actually Christmas themed that I hope to start this year. But yeah, this one, it's not a big pattern, obviously. Like, it just has the cats. So we have our little orange witch cat and a white vampire cat and a green monster of Frankenstein's cat and a brown little caveman cat. And then this is the bottom design. So I really don't think this will take all that long. I just, as a newer stitcher, I haven't really decided if I'm, you know, how much I like stitching out of season versus in season. But for right now, I'm just kind of waiting for it to go back to fall a little bit. But this is as far as I made it last year. So I got the witch cat done. And this is on, let's see, Fiber on a Whim, 32 count Lugana in the color Cypress, which I believe I got in a box. And this is the coordinating needle minder that came with the bag. So very fun. Looking forward to getting back to this one this year. I think this one will be hopefully a pretty doable finish for the year, because I have quite a few other Halloween starts that I'm looking forward to. And this one was started, let me pull that up. Okay, October 14th. Oh man, I'm already out of order. Just kidding. This one is a little bit older, but it's still from last year. This was my birthday start last year. I don't have a picture of the finished product on me. We'll see if I'm tech savvy enough to like throw a photo up, but if not, I apologize. I will get there. So this is my Rip, Roar, and Start on Owl Forest Embroidery's Dinosaur Forest. This is part of they have several like in the forest series. This one is dinosaur themed. It is large. I bought the kit, so this design will fit on this piece of fabric. So yeah, I kind of have one little dinosaur and a bigger dinosaur tail, a couple plants. And I'll show off the threads for these. I have these on a thread drop as well from Nerdy Needle Design Co. So very gorgeous colors. They go quite well with my shirt. So yeah, these are gorgeous. I think I know why. I think it's because Owl Forest patterns are really large, which is helpful, but also a hindrance. I feel like I just don't like the idea of having to kind of piece all these together, but they have been releasing a lot of their patterns in PDF form now, and so I am strongly considering purchasing this pattern as a PDF to see if that will kind of get my stitchy bug back on this. But you know, they don't, cross stitch projects don't go bad, right? So what's the rush? It's fine. I have other things I'm excited about working on right now. But anyway, this is in a bag from Forbidden Fiber Co. I bought I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was something like Take a Chance box. It was a mystery box, and so it says it's not about the cards you've been dealt, it's how you play the game, with little dice, little dangling dice on there. I need a good theme, and maybe it's because, you know, everything else kind of has like a themed bag. This doesn't have a themed bag. It's got a lot working against it, but that was my birthday start last year on September 4th, so maybe I'll give it a little love as my birthday is coming up pretty soon here. Okay, so those are my 3 whips from 2021. Like I said, you can tell I'm a very new stitcher, that's as old as my projects are. So my next start my next start that is still not done is from May 22nd of 2022, and it is Must Be Possible from Kathryn Landis of the Black Needle Society. I purchased their murder mystery box earlier this year, and the Zoom call was so much fun. They had a whole like murder mystery game to it, and you know, we got like this huge stack of papers in the box to try to solve the mystery, and I did guess correctly. I had some outstanding questions, but I did generally get who had done it by the end of the call, and how they had done it. But anyway, so that was super fun. Anyway, so this quote is an Agatha Christie quote, which I do like Agatha Christie quite a lot. So it says, "The impossible could not have happened, therefore the impossible must be possible in spite of appearances," which I believe is a Hercule Poirot quote too, if you're an Agatha Christie fan. But this is really fun. I haven't stitched anything with this kind of jazzy lettering on it. You know, I look at those Stitchrovia designs a lot, and I really want to stitch one day, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So I was really drawn to this one because this is kind of my first go at this kind of lettering. And so they provided in the box the fabric, which was part of the case actually, but here is my progress on this. So, you know, it's like I looked at the pattern and I was like, oh, it's kind of big, but there's a lot of space and I'm sure it'll go pretty fast. These are big letters. These are big letters. It's gonna take me a while. And we also got a coordinating needle minder. So, and this will be my little jar of my little vial of poison over here. So I'm enjoying working on this. I don't know, I've been feeling pretty pulled to this one right now, so it's been getting some love, but we'll see how long that goes for. And this one lives in the bag that also came in the box. They really gave us everything, so it looks like a case file. And probably my favorite part about this bag is it has the date of the Zoom call that we actually participated in April. So, you know, I'll always kind of have that date memorialized in this nice big bag. And again, so the linen, the fabric came with the box, and if you order from Black Needle Society, you know, you can get, you can indicate your fabric preference. So I did get linen. And so this was from, let me look at my notes, this is 32 count linen by Jody from Steel City Stitchers, and it's in the colorway Evidence 01002199, which is also, or 799, sorry. It's also written, yeah, on the bag here. So that is the colorway of the fabric, which I'm not gonna be able to show you in daylight here, but hopefully when I'm done I'll get a picture of it. But Jody of Steel City Stitchers is known for her blood spatter fabric, not using real blood, obviously, but getting these really cool kind of blood spatter effects on fabric. And for this fabric, she did that, but it is in UV sensitive dye, color, whatever. So if you put a UV light to this, there is a blood spatter design in the back, which also integrated into the story. It was so well thought out. I loved it. So that is must be possible. And then my last whip is, I'll actually kind of probably show you a couple things with this. So I am in Lindy Stitch's Bird Crush Club. And so if you're unfamiliar, that is a 12-month club that's running from January to December of 2022. And every month we get a box that has a pattern with a bird on it, 3 stickers of the bird in the wild, a Threadworks floss that's called for in that month's pattern, and yeah, I think that's it. And then like we get a little note from the bird photographer that she has worked with to, you know, get these photos to design off of, and a little note from Stephanie of Lindy Stitches. So sorry, I keep zipping and unzipping this bag. So anyway, this is the bag that all my birds live in, and I did get the keychain here. I'm a card carrying member of the Bird Crush Club. I just couldn't stand the little kind of chest hair and the cool glasses on this bird. I had to have it. And this bag is one that I sewed myself. So I did, I have been getting some use out of that sewing machine. This is just some random fabric from Michael's. And yeah, so there's not much to this bird. Don't get your hopes up. So this was a start on earlier this month. I don't remember what date, but earlier this month. And our bird of the month was the Lazuli Bunting. And so for all of the patterns, on one side of the cover, you see the photo that Chris, the bird photographer, took. And on the back side is the pattern based off the image. So you can see the parallels there in his posture. So this is the pattern. And as you will see, I am not very far at all. I just kind of got this going, but I do have hopes to kind of start to catch up on these a little bit. But what I was going to share, in case anyone maybe hasn't started the club yet, or, you know, whatever, if it's of interest to anyone. So I was very torn at the beginning of the club because Stephanie said that all of the patterns would have different called for fabrics. And, you know, I think the club is great. It's like valued at a great point for what you get. And I really liked that it was relatively low cost. And so the idea of adding a new piece of fabric on every month to match the called for was a bit much. And, you know, if I wanted to keep up, then it's like, you can order out early. But anyway, I just decided I didn't want 12 different fabrics. I do want all of these to kind of hang together, I think. I'm hoping to actually kind of have them maybe replace this puzzle that I have up here. And so I did want them to hang together. I wanted the fabrics to kind of gel. And so after much deliberation, I came to a place where I have selected 3 fabrics. I have fat quarters of each of these fabrics, and all the birds are going on them. So to show you, so this is so this one I'm stitching on 32 count Lugana in Vintage Country Mocha from Zweigart. And so this is one of my fabrics, which it's working out really well so far, because I believe I saw that the September or October called for fabric is Vintage Country Mocha. So that one I can match. But so anyway, so I'll show you these finishes real quick. So this was January's bird, the Stellar's J. So I put that one on here. So again, my 3 fabrics, I kind of have, this is like my brown one, which I feel like is good for really like dense trees. So this guy is kind of in like a pine, you know, a evergreen situation. And this one also, you know, kind of is heavily in the trees. And I like that the stomach is a little bit more visible on this fabric. And then the 2 others that I have, which again, it's working out so far. I'm trying not to hold myself like too tightly to being like, there must be 4 on each fabric, but I think it's gonna work out pretty well. So this is February's bird, and this is a 32 count linen in Seafoam from Seraphim Fabrics. And again, you can see the sewing machine at work here. I sewed my own edges here. So these are black-bellied whistling ducks, and I thought these were quite cute on the blue. And the other one that I have, thank you, Fuzz, is the black-throated gray warbler, which was the April bird. Let's have him say hi. Come here. You've caused enough disruptions. This is Fozzie, and he likes to talk a lot. We'll see if he lets me keep going here. And lastly, my 3rd fabric is also from Seraphim Fabrics, 32 count linen in Water Spirit, I believe. And this is the broad-billed hummingbird, which was March's bird. And this was the called for fabric, actually. And I think I saw that there will be another bird that is called for on this fabric. So like I said, going pretty well. And you know, all the fabrics together, if I kind of fold them out here, I really like that these 2 kind of have sort of browny, brown, tan, beigey, like you know, kind of modeling going on. So I think it really helps kind of tie them together. And then obviously, you know, vintage country mocha just is brown. So I think they look quite good together, and I am very happy with that. So like I said, it's the last couple of days of July here, so we just got our bill for the August bird. They come pretty early in the month, so I am back in May. I gotta catch up. So I'm hoping to get a little stitching on this done when I travel this weekend. So, let's see, I have my little notes here. Those are my whips, and next up I would like to discuss plans, and I'm actually hoping to crowdsource maybe a little bit of advice on this. So coming up here, as I mentioned, my birthday is approaching in September, and I will be turning 30. So I felt like I needed a very exciting, very momentous 30th birthday start, and I have really gone for it and decided that I really want to try my first Heaven and Earth Designs piece. And you know, I watch a lot of people work on these, and it's truly incredible. I think they look stunning, but you know, I always looked at them and just kind of said, you know, I can't imagine what image I would feel so drawn to that I would dedicate like 10 years of my life to trying to stitch this, you know, like what image could I possibly, because so far, I mean, as you see, I don't have a ton of whips. My kind of threshold to start things is relatively still high, I guess, compared to some other folks. Not that that's a good or bad thing. I just, for me personally, I tend to start things that I can visualize, either like going to a friend or that I can visualize being in my home in some way, even if I don't know exactly how I want to finish it. You know, I want to, that I can envision it in my space a little bit. So like I said, my threshold to start is somewhat high. I think it is lowering as time goes on, but so yeah, so thinking about a Heaven and Earth Designs, I just was like, and another kind of like, I guess, you know, terms that you hear a lot when you watch Flosstube is, you know, process versus product stitchers. And so, you know, process stitchers are not so much concerned with the finish and are just simply enjoying the process, whereas product stitchers are are kind of more about the finish. And I definitely think I fall a little more into that product category. Like I said, I like to envision that something will get done. You know, I'm comfortable with it taking a while, but I want to hopefully be working on things that I can imagine getting done in this life. We'll see. That may not always be the case, but currently that is my my approach towards it. So I have an Inert Designs, which again, we'll see if I kind of get my act together enough to figure out how to do pictures, but if you were seeing one, then hopefully that is helpful. So I chose the Astronomer by Myles Pinkney in Max Colors. Tell me why I did Max Colors. I had this image as a puzzle as a kid, and it was one of the first puzzles that I did that was kind of on the larger side. It was, you know, 750 pieces, and it glowed in the dark, and it was the first puzzle in my parents' house. All of the kid rooms, I have 2 other siblings, we were on a long hallway, and it was just a blank wall, and the Astronomer, this image, this puzzle was the first puzzle that I ever glued and preserved and put up on the wall. And it actually started, the entire wall is covered in puzzles. It might not be anymore. They might have, yes, taken it down by now. But I really love that image. I really love that puzzle. And this is the one. I think this is the one that I want to start right now. So I was chatting with some people on the recent Black Needle Society Gilmore Girls Summer in Stars Hollow virtual retreat, and I was trying to get advice from people who had done Heaven and Earth designs before about how they kind of figure out what count they want to stitch on, because it's a lot to think about, right? It's especially if you haven't done one before like me. I just am very overwhelmed by choosing a count and, you know, 10 stitch versus full cross and all that kind of stuff. So everyone's sage advice, I think, was to purchase small cuts of fabric and just kind of give it a go. And so I thought, going into this test procedure, that I would like 18 count Aida the best with 2 strands. Because again, I like kind of a full stitch. I want pretty good coverage. Especially because this image, hopefully you have seen it. If not, we'll figure it out. It is very dark. There's a night sky, lots of rich jewel tones, and I really don't want white fabric coming through that. I think I really want it to be just like densely covered. So I did also purchase 25 count Lugana, and it seems like a lot of people are really big fans of either 2/1 10 stitch on Lugana or 1/1 full cross. So let's see if I can show these off here. So I did stitch some squares, and I was surprised to find that I actually quite liked, I mean, not that this really provides much information, but I quite liked the 1/1 full cross on the 25 count Aida, or 25 count Lugana. And I have my, 18 count Aida here, but I'm torn. So what I would like to crowdsource, if anyone has experience in this and can enlighten me, I'm liking the way this looks. I'm liking how it felt to stitch it up. I'm liking that it uses, like a third of the amount of floss it took to stitch, a 10 by 10 square on 18 count compared to this. But I'm just really nervous. Like, what happens if you mess up? These are teeny tiny stitches. I have not done a lot of small stitching. How do you cut them out? Like, what do you do? What do you do? So chatty. He doesn't like me being the star of the show. So please help, because I think I want to go 25 count 1/1 full cross, but I just don't want to commit until I feel confident that I know how to get myself out of a bad situation if I mess up. I don't know how you would cut that out. They're so small. And then the other factors, I do feel like they're slightly duller than maybe the 18 count. So But then from a distance, you know, it all kind of washes out from a distance, right? I don't know. Please give me any heaven and earth design tips that you have. So that is on the horizon. Like I said, I really like to capture my progress on that as that gets going. Additionally, there are 2 stitch alongs coming up. I hadn't really been in a stitch along this year, but they got me, so I'm going to participate in the Dark Queen of the Earth stitch along from Autumn Lane Stitchery. I did not stitch the Dark Queen of the Seas, but you know, I'm a Virgo and I really wanted to stitch the Dark Queen of the Earth. I really like the teaser that they've done, so I have put in an order for kind of all the supplies there. So very excited to start that, and I hope maybe some of you will be joining me. I also just saw the recent announcement from Hands on Design, the costume party stitch along, which I did do the cookie exchange in December and really loved that. So very excited to do the costume party stitch along. Hopefully it's a very new announcement, but gonna join in on that. And then lastly, I also wanted to document some other big plans I have coming up. Is I have cousins who are adopting a little baby girl, and I want to shower them in gifts. My siblings are not in a position anytime soon where we're having kids, and I've had some cousins who have had children, but just I don't really have much of a relationship with them. So this is kind of, I said, this is my first baby. I feel like this is cousins that I have a relationship with, that we talk, and they are very sweet, and they learned to crochet actually. My cousin and his husband, they learned to crochet when his sister got pregnant, and they crocheted this just unbelievably large blanket for a baby, but they wanted it to be, you know, a kind of a lifetime blanket, which is great for them. That's not what they're getting from me. Anyway, they worked on this blanket for her first baby, and then the second baby, so like my other cousin is currently pregnant, and they're working on another crochet blanket for that baby. And so then I asked them, I said, you know, oh, are you gonna make a blanket for your own baby? And he was like, no. We're gonna rely on other people. So I definitely want to cross stitch something. I was looking at some baby blanket patterns. I saw Shiloh of X Stitch MD did the Stephen West Vertices Unite baby blanket, which I really love. It's such a fun shape. It's not rectangular. Again, maybe there's a photo, maybe there's not. Very fun shape, very fun color options, but I kind of need to get the vibe from my cousin of like what the broom, if there's a theme going on, you know, I kind of want to match or, you know, use any colors that they want to have incorporated in the baby's room, but I'm definitely leaning towards not pink. We're not going to be doing heavy pinks for girls around here. I would love to do like jewel tones. I really like jewel tones. Or, you know, just like greens, something neutral. So I am excited to work on all of those. Got some fun baby gifts coming up. So with that, holy 50 minutes, that is kind of the end of everything I had to share about cross stitch with you today. I am hoping that maybe these, I don't know, we'll see what my vibe is, and we'll see how much I get done, but maybe this will be monthly. Maybe I'll surprise you in 2 weeks, but I'm thinking monthly just because I think it's fun to, you know, give yourself enough time to kind of get things moving. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking loosely monthly right now. So with that, if you are just here for cross stitch, you are free to go. But if you're free to hang out with me for a little bit longer, I only have 2 other things I wanted to show. We'll move into other crafts. So the first thing I wanted to show is I had a friend come into town this past weekend, and it was very exciting. She's someone that I have been working with at work since January 2021, and we never met in person because we're all remote. My job went remote in March of 2020, and since then we are allowed to go back, but they have allowed, you know, it's been 2 years of us working remotely, and so there are options to you can enter into like fully remote work agreements, which I have done, and so I do work at home full time. I can go into the office if I need a change of scenery or whatever, but so far have stuck with the work from home life. And my colleague also did. She was living with her family in Tampa, so I had never met her. And she's moving on to her doctorate, so she had to come drop off some equipment, and she got to stay with me. And she is a big needle pointer, which prior to meeting her, I didn't really know what needlepoint was in comparison to other things. I like assumed it was the same as embroidery. It is not. I don't know if folks are super or as clueless about needlepoint as I am, but there are needlepoint stores in Atlanta where there are not cross-stitch stores, which is tragic. And if I'm wrong about that, please correct me. I'm desperate for a local LNS. I had been in this needlepoint store once before, and there are definitely fibers that, you know, as a cross-stitcher you can use. They carry Gloriana silks, they carry dinky dyes. I actually saw some color and cotton silks in there. I don't even think I knew that they made silks. There's threadworks in there as well. So there's like certainly a lot of options for me, but it is definitely a needlepoint store. And so just a high level, if you are as clueless as I was, needlepoint is worked on a very stiff canvas. I'll show you one here, the one that I got. It's worked on a stiff canvas, and I feel like and the design, as opposed to working off of a pattern, the design is painted on the canvas itself. And so you kind of have two options. Either you can, you know, very closely match the colors of the canvas, and in which case, you know, you have a lot of flexibility in stitch options. You can do what they call like open stitches, which is where you can see the color of the canvas, the painting part underneath, or, you know, you can do a closed stitch, which has, you know, really full coverage. Or, as you'll see in the case that I did, you can depart from the colors that are painted on the canvas, but then in that case you want, you know, very full coverage stitches because you don't want to see the paint underneath because they're different colors. So Noelle, if you're watching this, all my love and respect to needle pointers. I mean, going in there with her is a memory I will treasure forever. It was so fun getting to see her kind of, you know, have a blast picking out stuff and looking around and getting to shop a store that large, and working with our sales lady Jenny there. She was fantastic. And Noelle like got out her works in progress, and, you know, they were talking about different stitches and, you know, fibers and stuff. So I feel like I understand the appeal of needlepoint, and that you can use a very wide variety of fibers because the holes in the canvases are so large, especially compared to what, you know, we use in, you know, what you see in linens and Aidas for cross stitch. So you can have a lot of fun fiber options, and again, you know, you get to work with different stitches, but man, needlepoint is a pricey hobby. So I did kit up a canvas there though, because I was with my friend. It was a very special trip, and so I wanted to commemorate it with a canvas. So this is my little succulent. So at this moment, I have stitched the entire background. So this was much more of like a pinky mauve color. And you can also see, I kind of wanted to highlight this. So the initial colors painted on the canvas are these kinds of 3 shades of teal, but we didn't really find a great match for those. So I'm stitching 3 shades of blue because I like blue and orange. So this is kind of my lightest blue right here, and then this is the medium blue and the darkest blue. So I just kind of tested them to see if I liked them together, and I think it will work. and I don't know if you can see, but I mean, they use some mamma jamma needles. I was floored because I think, you know, in most cross stitch you use maybe like a size 26, 28 needle. This is a size 20 needle, 22, very big. Very big. But it's very fun, very cool to try something new. I'm always down for it. But yeah, so they kind of tack it into these little wooden frames, and this is what they stitch in because the canvas itself is stitched stiff enough, there we go, that you don't need the tension of something like a Q-snap or a hoop. But I'll show you the colors I picked out. So the orange in the background is a Krynic, believe it or not. So this is kind of my first time with a Krynic, but this is a number 12 Krynic, which I'm sure is like much bigger than, yeah, number 12. So yeah, this is that fluorescent Krynic that is in the background. And then the 3 colors I got. So Noelle recommended these because she really likes the velvet, and they are quite delicious to stitch with. So these are my 3 shades of blue, and then I have a white for the little outlines. So it's very fun. It's so awesome to try something new. And you know, like I said, I have a lot of respect for needle pointers now because I don't know how well it'll come across, but effectively what you see on the front is what I've heard in cross stitch terms is tent stitch. You know, it's just the first leg of a cross. However, needle pointers do not simply, you know, I think in cross stitch, if you're, you know, imagining a bunch of X's, you know, I tend to stitch bottom left to top right. So if I'm going across a row, I would go bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, and then, you know, you come back and finish your crosses. I'm almost done, but I'm almost done. But in needlepoint, you don't do that. They take the longest route between holes. So if you were gonna go bottom left, top right, you wouldn't even do that actually. I guess if you were going in this direction, like my example, you would go bottom right, top left, bottom right, top left, bottom, or I said that completely backwards. If you're heading in this direction, you would go top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left. So then you kind of get this really intense coverage on the back. And I actually kind of tried 2 styles here. So that method that I described is a continental stitch, but there's another way to work it, which again looks the same on the front if you look at this little center circle. But this is a basket stitch she taught me on the back, and that's worked a little bit different, but the effect is still the same on the front. And all of this is to try to keep tension, which is just kind of interesting to me because, you know, coming from, again, working with a lot of linens, this canvas is so sturdy. It's hard for me to imagine that you would have major tension problems, but they are working with much bulkier fibers. So learn something new every day. So that was really fun. And then the last thing I wanted to share is a sewing finish, because it's kind of like one of my biggest accomplishments to date. So like I said, I got the sewing machine a year ago to actually pillow finish a cross stitch for my brother, which I did, which is great. That's all on my Instagram if you want to see. And then I took a sewing class. It was like a 4-week class where we met every Saturday, and it was, you know, sewing 101. So we started the first week with like a little sunglasses case. The second week we made a tote bag, which then I went ham and made tote bags for everybody over the holiday season this past year. And then the last 2 classes we actually did t-shirts, which this is not the shirt I made in class, but I really like the design and the fit of it. So I bought more fabric and made another t-shirt. So this is the t-shirt that I learned how to make in that class. We got that pattern in class. So taking all that newfound knowledge, I decided this year that, so I went down to the store, Melanated Fabrics in Atlanta. If you're in the area, they're fantastic. So I bought fabric to make this shirt because I wanted a summery shirt, because a lot of my shirts are very dark toned and I wanted something a little lighter for the summer. I purchased swimsuit fabric, which we'll see if I get around to that. It's very intimidating to me, but the fabric was too beautiful. And then finally, I purchased this stunning kind of rusty brick gauze fabric, and I wanted to make a summer dress. And I ended up, it is sort of a dress, but it's actually a two-piece. So I don't know if this is going to show up in camera at all. Again, I will have to take a picture after I wear this weekend, but it's a little cropped top that's very loose fitting. So it's got elastic in around the torso and the sleeves. And I had to go all out. I did, when I made tote bags for everybody, I purchased labels, my own labels from Ever Emblem. And so I put my own tag in, so it says "Made Just for You" by Tara Camille. It's my middle name. And of course, this was like a pre-done design. Ever Emblem will print your custom logos, but they have a bunch of pre-designed ones. So I picked this adorable kitty in a sweater. So I sewed that in there. And then I picked this nice little like abalone button for the back closure on this top. So this is the top, and then this is not going to show up in camera at all, but the interesting part, if you're a sewer, I guess, is right here. So this is a gathered skirt. It's a long skirt and it is high-waisted. So this was my first go at an invisible zipper, and I am ecstatic. I did a tester with a bed sheet and it was not invisible there, and I actually really goofed however this was happening and made it so that I could like zip the actual zipper pull all the way off, which I did. So I can't wear the mock-up. I don't have to put a new zipper on or something, but I was glad it was invisible because I did not find a zipper that matched this color very well. As you can see, this is like candy apple red. You can see how striking it is on the inside. So I was like, this has to be invisible or it's gonna be so distracting. And then the waistband was a little big, so I made this very crude adjustment, but I think I'm gonna try to take it in more appropriate. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. Of course, my phone alarm went off to check it to a flight. But as I was saying, I need to do a better job with this, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm wearing it to an event this weekend. My friend is having her kind of wedding reception. She got married last year. But anyway, there's a sash with the skirt, and so I think that will do perfectly fine to kind of cover the little adjustment in the waistband until I can do a more elegant solution. So anyway, I really love the color of this. I'm very happy how it came out, and hopefully I'll have a picture to share next time. So it was within a half an hour of when this dude eats, so I think I'm gonna leave it at that. If you are still with me, thank you so much. I know there's a lot of Flosstube out there, but you know, as I like to have it on during my work day. I know a lot of other folks who work at home like to have, you know, kind of, it's like having a friend there who's just talking about stuff that you're really into, you know. I feel like I was also kind of jump started into wanting to finally start my own Flosstube after that Gilmore Girls virtual retreat, because it was just, even though I have wonderful supportive crafty friends in my life who listen to me go on and on and on and on and on, there was just something about like being in those rooms and, you know, and virtually chatting with people all day who were just so excited to talk about cross stitch and crafts all day. And like I said, as a chronic overthinker, you know, I'm never against the idea of getting more input on what I should do. So with that, hope you want to stick around and maybe hang out with me again, but wishing you a great rest of your day, and I'll see you around. Bye.